Now we are going to talk about a special kind of numerical sequences. It's called the arithmetic sequence. Okay, I'll give you some examples about the arithmetic sequence, and you have to discover its definition. Let's take some examples now. Let's say 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, and so on. This is an example of an arithmetic sequence. Okay, another one. -8, -1, 6, 13, 20, 27, and so on. Okay, another example. 30.5. 33. 35.5. 38. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's say 27. 18. 9. 0. -9. Another example also. Okay, let's say 11. 24. 37. 50. 63. Okay. All of these, ladies and gentlemen, are examples of a special kind of sequences. Is called the arithmetic sequence. What can you notice about arithmetic sequences? Let's go. First one, for example. So what can you say about the first sequence? Is there anything special about it?
It's increasing by 3.
Exactly. We are adding 3 to each term in order to get the new term. Okay. So if I want to find, for example, here we have first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I want to find the 7th term, I can take the 6th term and add it to it. What?
3.
3. So I can look at the 6th term here, which is 19, and add 3. So the new term will be
19.
the new term. It will be
22.
22, exactly. So we say U7 is equal to U6 plus 3. Now, if we subtract them, if I subtract any two terms, for example, if I say U7 minus U3, or for example, U4, U5 minus U4, what will you get? This is U5 and this is U4. If we subtract them, you will get
3.
If we subtract any two consecutive terms, what we will get? What will we get? Let's say
3.
3. Anyway, أي two terms if we subtract them, we will get. نعم. لا. I'm taking the no, I'm taking the next term minus the previous term. Okay. Let's look at the second sequence. So here for the first sequence, we can illustrate the idea like this, حبيبات انتبهوا. If I subtract here again, I will remind you, if I have a set of values in a sequence 1, 2, 5, 8, 17, 32, for example, this is called, sorry, 1, 2, 5, 17, 32, 60. This is called the first term. This one is called the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. Somewhere when we continue, we'll get the 20th term, the 21st term, continue. The 100th term, continue. Somewhere we'll get the 1000th term. And somewhere we will get the nth term. So after the 100th term, after the 100th comes the 101th term. After the nth term, we get what? What do we get after the nth term? What is the number of this term coming after the nth term?
N plus 1.
N plus 1th term, exactly. Okay, so after the 8th term, we will get the 9th. After the 80th term, we will get the 81st. After the nth term, the n plus 1th term. So here, if we subtract, we said if we subtract any two terms, any two consecutive terms, let's say un plus 1 minus un. These are called consecutive terms. We will get 3 always. Let's think about this one. What can you notice about this sequence?
بيطلع يعني شو ما عملنا subtraction بده يطلع الجواب 7.
Exactly. When we subtract any two terms, any two consecutive terms, the answer will be fixed. We'll get 7. That is, if we subtract u1, the second term, sorry, u2 minus u1, u2 minus u1, it is minus 1 minus minus 8. The answer will be plus 7. Let's subtract u3 minus u2. 6 minus negative 1. We will get plus 7. If we subtract u4 minus u3, 13 minus 6, we will get plus 7. If we subtract, for example, u5 minus u4, which is 20 minus 13, we will get plus 7. So every time we are going to get what? A fixed difference, which is plus 7, right?
Right.
Okay, so in general, what can we say? We can say u of n plus 1 minus un is equal to 7. Let's look now at the third one. What can we say about the third sequence? يلا فكر.
If we subtract every two consecutive numbers, we get 2.5.
Excellent. So let's look at the fourth example. We have here 27, 18, 9, 0, minus 9. If we subtract them, what will we get?
9.
No.
لا مش minus 9.
Minus 9?
Negative 9, yes. So this sequence is decreasing by 9. And the final sequence, we can easily get that if we subtract any two consecutive sequences, we will get
13.
13. The difference here, what do we mean by minus? Subtraction of subtraction of two numbers is called the difference. So here the difference, in every example, the difference is constant. We call this the common difference. Now here arises the definition of an arithmetic sequence. A sequence UN. A sequence UN is said to be an arithmetic sequence if what? If UN plus 1 minus UN. What do you mean by UN plus 1 minus UN? Difference of two consecutive
يعني
is,
رقمين ورا بعض.
is equal always to the same fixed number. Let's call it D. If UN plus 1 minus UN, if every time we subtract two consecutive terms, we will get the same answer, where this answer is called, where D is called the common difference. So every time we want to indicate whether a sequence is an arithmetic sequence or not, if I want to know if this sequence is an arithmetic sequence or not, I can look at the terms. If the difference between every two consecutive terms is fixed, is the same answer, then we say that this sequence is an arithmetic sequence of common difference. يعني, look at these two sequences, 3, 8, 13, 18, 23, etc. Look at another sequence, 4, 9, 14, 19, 22. Now, is this one an arithmetic sequence? Are these terms the terms of an arithmetic sequence?
Yes.
Why? Because always we have
The same difference.
the same difference, which we call it a common difference. What is the common difference of this sequence?
5.
5. Subtract any two consecutive terms, we will get 5. However, in the second one,
Also 5.
no. When we subtract 22 minus 19,
It's 3.
3, which is not equal to 19 minus 14. 22 minus
Yes.
19 is not equal to 19 minus 14. So this sequence is not an arithmetic sequence. However, this one is, yes, it is an arithmetic sequence. So again, the definition of an arithmetic sequence, we must have always a common difference. Okay? Now, so again, I'll repeat, UN is an arithmetic sequence if we subtract any two terms, we will get the same number D, and D here is called the common what? Difference. Okay, so here if we have this sequence, U1, U2, U3, U4, etc. until we reach UN. After UN, we have UN plus 1, UN plus 2, and so on. If we subtract any two consecutive terms, we will get the same common difference D. Okay? Now, Let's think about another kind of sequences. It's called the geometric sequence. And here we have to recognize the difference between these two kinds. So this is now the geometric sequence. I'll give you some examples so that you can find or figure out what do we mean by geometric sequence. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 1 to 8, etc. For example, 3 minus 6, 12 minus 24, 48, minus 96, etc. Let's say 6 to 5, 25, 5, 1, 0.2. One, 3, 9, 27, 81, and so on. So here we have several examples of numerical sequences. These kinds of sequences are called what? Geometric sequence. Why? What can you notice about this?
ما بكونوا common.
difference is increasing بأول واحدة.
في multiply ما هيك يا استاذ؟
اها
يعني بكل سيكونس بكون في أكتر من وحدة.
بالأولى multiply by 2.
excellent. So the first
بالثاني
one
multiply by -2.
Very good. Because in the first example, we are multiplying each time by 2. In the second, so here we are multiplying by 2. Here we are multiplying by -2. What about
-2.
the third one?
By 5.
By 5. Are we multiplying by 5?
Dividing by 5.
No,
Dividing by
Divide by
5.
You can say multiplying
by
by 1
5.
over 5. Dividing by 5 or multiplying by 1 over 5. And the last one, we are multiplying by 3. So in the
3.
arithmetic sequence, we were adding. In the arithmetic sequence, we were adding numbers. In the geometric sequence, we are multiplying. But here now, نحن كيف بنفكر how to get a term from the previous term. That is, how to find 64 starting from 32. That is, we say 64 is equal to 32 and طريقة تانية. What is the next number here? What is the next number?
بضرب 2.
Okay, so you multiply by 2.
128.
128. Why? Because 128 comes from 64. ما سمعت.
Times 2.
Times 2.
By 2.
So 64 comes from where? 32
Times 2.
times 2. So every time, if I want to find any term, I'll take the previous term and multiply it by 2. Now, instead of finding a common difference here, we'll find a common ratio. That is, look, When you divide 64 by 32, what do you get? 64 divided by 32.
2.
2
32 divided by 16.
4 2 2
2.
16 divided by 8.
2
2.
8 divided by 4.
2
2.
2. 4 divided by 2. 2
Two,
divided
two.
by 1. All of them are of the same ratio. We call it ratio, which is equal to 2. Here we say we have a common ratio. In the other example, 48 divided by minus 24,
minus
minus 2.
minus 2
which is the same as minus 24 divided by 12, the same as
Minus
12
2.
divided by minus 6, and
Minus
the same as minus 6 divided by what?
3.
3. All of them عم يعطينا نفس الجواب, which is minus 2. Okay? طيب here in this example, if we divide 0.2 by 1 or 1 by 5 or كملوا معي يلا.
5 over 25
Yes, or
25 على
على
65.
65
so don't think you have to divide the greatest. يعني مش انه الجريتر قسمه من الاكبر قسمه الاصغر. لا, انا دايما every number of the sequence divided by the number preceding it, the previous one. If we divide them all, we will get 1 over 5 or 0.2 اذا بدكم. So this is called the common ratio and not common difference. So this is the difference between a geometric sequence and an arithmetic sequence. In an arithmetic sequence, we have always what? A common difference. If we subtract any term from the term preceding it, we will get the same number. However, in the geometric sequence, a geometric sequence or UN is called a geometric sequence. As an UN is a geometric sequence. نصيغها بهالطريقة. UN is a geometric sequence if for every m we have UN plus 1 divided by UN is equal always to the same number. هونيك سميناه D لأنه as a notation for difference. هون شو بنسميه؟ R as a notation of ratio. وsome يعني some books أو بعض المناهج التعليمية بتسميه Q as a notation of a quotient. طيب فإذا نحن هنسميه R. UN plus 1 over UN equal to R, where R is called the common ratio. باختصار شو قلنا؟ قلنا شغلتين بس، تعلمنا شغلتين. شو هن؟ تعلمنا الاريثماتيك سيكونس وتعلمنا الجيومتريك سيكونس. طب إذا if I gave you this sequence 3 3 10 17 24 31, is this sequence arithmetic or geometric?
Arithmetic.
Arithmetic. Why?
Because we are adding 7 7 7.
مش because we are adding. هلا صح عم تفكر بس we say because we have a common
difference.
Common difference.
Which is 7.
Okay, which is 7. Now, if I take another example, 2, 10, 50. Okay, so now is the sequence
Geometric.
geometric? Why?
Geometric.
So multiplying
Common
by,
ratio.
We're multiplying.
multiplying by 5.
We are multiplying by 5, but correctly we can say, we should say this
Common
sequence
ratio.
has I'll admit a common ratio. That is when we divide any number of this sequence by the number preceding it. 250 divided by 50, or 50 divided by 10, or 10 divided by 2. In each case, we will get
5.
5. So here we say we have a common ratio. Okay? Any questions?